I don't even need to click to sync sound because that's not important. But I still like to do it sometimes, just for my own sake of routine. We're all creatures of habit one way or another. Oh, I don't even know what my hair's doing. But hey, recently I was like talking to a friend about how I'd had a different approach to how I'd been styling my hair, and they were like, yeah, to be honest, it didn't really look that different. And you know what, that may sound like it was a not very nice comment, but in reality it put me at ease, because I think naturally you see yourself every day, you know, maybe you get a spot or something and you think, oh, this is a big change, you know, everybody's going to notice, and in reality nobody cares, and nobody does notice, in a way that is calming and soothing to me. Because for the important things people do care. Anyway, yeah, so welcome to whatever episode of the Decompression Chamber Season 2 it is. The fact that I can't remember shows that it's been too long since I've done one of these, even though I've been better about it recently. And our opening quote is going to be from Soren Kierkegaard. I know I use some of his quotes a lot because I think he's got some cool quotes, but he says, "The only intelligent tactical response to life's horror is to laugh defiantly at it."
But the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at the turn of your words. Run at the meat and my steamer is broke. But the oblique turn peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to occur, but my zen getting rolled at the some little words. Or margin hot stop and duck knock and rust stopping for cigarettes. In it says smoke, out it says no. Cloud of the road that I play, so I know by day.
I thought I'd give it a second for that to sink in, just because I don't know, sometimes I feel like I cut too quickly from the quote to the intro. And I like to use little nice clips for the intro, and maybe the intro cutting directly after the quote doesn't let that quote sink in. So I hope, well, maybe we can unpack that together. I think the reality of it is that life is crazy. Life is insane. It's such a full-on, vivid, wild, crazy experience. And I think you get so used to the repetition of, you know, wake up, go about your day, eat 3 meals, shower and exercise, and then do your stuff, and then go to sleep. You think this is life, like, you know, and you kind of get used to it. But when you take a step back, you think, man, all the stuff that's going on, and all the stuff that I feel, and all the things that I've been through, and all the things that are possible in my future, it's like you realise truly how fully crazy life is, you know. I was speaking with a friend recently about how there are so many experiences, so many people that you have met where there's no like way of predicting that, and like if you had predicted beforehand that, or if you told a previous version of yourself that was going to happen, you know, the previous version of yourself would find that ludicrous and ridiculous. An example of that is like my parents met in England. My mum's from Spain, you know. If she had gone to a different part of the country, or, you know, hadn't stayed as long, or didn't come back to live with my dad, then it would be a different story. I may not exist, likely wouldn't exist in those possibilities. And, you know, right now I've gone from a stage of being relatively unencumbered with work and things going on to, like, suddenly there's a lot going on. There's lots of possibilities and lots of opportunities and things that I have got to be doing, things that I want to be doing, and, you know, all of that wrapped up into a big ball, and that's just on top of the daily maintenance of my daily life stuff, you know. And I think for me, because I wouldn't necessarily say lazy, but that's not an inaccurate description. I'm very happy and very comfortable doing nothing at times. I think because of that is the type of person I am. When I've got a lot going on, sometimes my brain sends up this kind of alarm response where it's like, step away from that stuff and retreat into the comforting cocoon of nothingness, of relaxation and not doing much. And if I was to unpack why, I think that part of it is because I have this subconscious worry that I'm not going to do very well at the things that are coming towards me, you know. And for this situation, I like to think of this guy who was on my football team. His name was Sam, and this will come back round, but every single tackle, so somebody's got the ball, and they're on the other team, and my teammate Sam is running towards him. Every single time he ran towards the player, he looked like he really wanted to tackle him, to get the ball off him and move forward. and you could see it. He'd run with his head down. He'd be looking through his brows almost. He'd be like, every single step was like a forceful push towards that player. And just the way that he entered the challenge, you knew that he was going to win the ball. And 99.9% of the time he did. And he was so good at it. And it's because of the pure belief and the pure tenacity that he had. You know, and so I try and apply that mentality to the things coming towards me in the future, you know, rather than like the player who goes in half-heartedly and kind of sticks a foot in but then gets clattered. I like to approach these things with as much confidence and as much drive as I can, because I'm not one of those people where it's just like instilled in me. I have to like, it's like I have to use... Man, I'm going off on analogies here, but rather than having the coffee be prepared with the milk froth there, I have to use the frother and like spin it up and kind of agitate it and create that frothy... I'm trying to say that the froth is the tenacity, if that makes sense. Froth is the tenacity might be the title, but yeah, no. So I'm trying to kind of instill within myself that confidence. For context, right now, I'm filming this the night before what is going to be a 48-hour film challenge, like student filmmaking challenge in my university's like media section. So every single filmmaking course, every single media course has the opportunity for 48 hours based on a limited prompt to make a 3-minute student film. And so I've been lucky enough to, between my peers, the group of us friends and whatnot that want to make a film together, I want to direct and nobody else wants to direct, so I've somehow marched directly into a position of leadership with no opposition. And I guess to a certain extent I feel gratified that people feel comfortable and happy to work with me as the director. But I think as well it's that kind of thing of every single time you step into the role of being a director, you become responsible. You're making a lot of the creative decisions, and a lot of people are doing their job to try and help you, you know, to try and meet your creative vision. And so I ask myself in these moments, how can I make sure that everybody enjoys their experience? How can I make sure that we can make something that we're all proud of together? How can I make sure that everybody feels like they've contributed and have their ideas heard, but in a way that is streamlined and respects the hierarchy of our filmmaking kind of process? Because I'm not the type of person to say, oh, I'm not going to listen to your idea because this is the role you're in. However, there is a certain element of, if everybody's trying to like pitch in and make these choices and make these decisions, then there's no order. And so despite the fact that I'm trying to use everybody's ideas and kind of pay attention to everybody's perspective, I also have to keep in mind the decision at the end of the day will come down to me. And by hook or by crook, if it's a good decision, if it's a bad decision, I have to make that and I have to back it. I have to stand by it. And so there's a certain level of pressure that comes with that. Even something that's low stakes, like the 48-hour film challenge, you know, something that we were discussing with Sam, who's going to be my DP. Shout out to Sam. We were saying, you know, if it comes off well, we look really good. If it comes off poorly, you know, we'll forget about it. It was just done in 48 hours. But I'm really glad that this has popped up because, you know, it's... Obviously, we're going to spend a lot of time logisticizing and creating and kind of thinking about it. But on the overall grand scheme of things, it's just going to be a couple days. You know, we set it up and hopefully we knock it out of the park. And I am this is another conversation I was having. I've had a lot of good conversations recently. A lot of them have occurred with my friend Alfie. Shout out if you're watching, Alfie. Recently, this has always kind of been true for me, but I guess when you compare it to other environments, it becomes clearer. It's like, I am genuinely a very competitive person, and I don't try and push that like to the forefront of my personality, and it doesn't always present itself all the time, but I am genuinely very competitive. And so, because my course is like in a separate campus to a lot of the other media courses and stuff at Bournemouth University, which is technically the university that I study at, my course is run by. It's a bit of a weird situation. But I told all the people on the crew that I'm working with, I said, I want them to feel like they made the wrong choice, like they picked the wrong course. I want them to look at the stuff that we make and go, wow, we should have gone on that course because they're making fucking cool stuff, you know? So I I was really doing my best when we kind of all together, and it became clear that I was going to direct, to project this idea of confidence and inspiration, and just kind of like, yeah, we're going here, we're going to fucking aim high, and we're going to meet those high expectations. Because naturally, you're never going to make that far leap unless you're looking to that distance. If you're looking in a way that's not ambitious, you're not going to meet any high standard. Is that whole thing of like, you have to aim high to reach any height, even if it's not the exact height that your ambitions were at. It's better to aim high and not quite reach that than to never aim high at all. And this can be expanded to all sorts of realms of life, and for me in particular as a filmmaker, but to anybody doing anything, you have to want to, in my opinion, if you really care about something and you're passionate about something, you have to want to really feel like you can do something big, you can like have a big impact and do something incredible, because I think that it's perfectly valid for someone to want to just feel like they're happy and doing something and kind of enjoying the process of life. But for me, I think we've got limited time on this earth, and if you care about something, you should really try and do something that really impacts that really kind of follows through on that. And to a certain extent, I do genuinely feel like I've got a lot of potential. And I think that's partially because of like the unique perspective that I have and the unique experiences that I've had, but to also a great extent, it's the people that I work with, the people in my life that have strengthened my resolve, the people that encourage me, that inspire me, that contribute to all the stuff that I've ever done. I've never made something just other than these videos just myself. There's always been other people involved, and they've always emboldened me and filled me with confidence, and I've tried my best to do that with them, But yeah, so a lot's going on right now, and it was a bit of a hectic weekend, I can't lie. On Saturday it would have been I thought it was just gonna be my parents coming down. They wanted to visit me, and it was nice because I had a free weekend, and my brothers ended up coming down to visit as well, and it was like one of the most beautiful, amazing, relaxing days of like my entire year. We just sat in the sun and talked, and we went for coffee and like just had like fun discussions and enjoyed our time together. A lot of it was talking about film and TV, which is always fun for me because I always feel like I'm in my realm there, But that's the thing, is it connects all of us. We all watch it, we all consume it, it's part of our lives, and that's why it's so enriching to be part of the process on this side of it. But it's really interesting to me to hear what other people watch and what they draw from it, and like there are people where you'd expect them to have certain tastes, but they always have like something that you haven't watched, or even if you have watched it, maybe they saw it a different way, or they had a different appreciation, and I genuinely think my family are just an awesome bunch. Like, obviously you can expand this to pretty much most of my entire family, but the little unit, me, my brothers, and my parents, it's just like, I'm so grateful to have them. They're such a fucking awesome bunch, and yeah, really, I couldn't credit that more than anyone to my parents, really, because as much as they've invested so much of their life to like making us have fun activities and like have enriching experiences and do different stuff, at the stage of life that I'm at, just walking around, spending time with them, having coffees and eating food, all I really like is just being with them and talking with them, and we have like really fun and like sometimes agitating intellectual discussions. A big chunk of the time we spent at a coffee shop was discussing the effects of the dictatorship in Spain on gender roles, and how that plays into how we see it in culture and media, and how some of those things can be compared within my English and Spanish families and stuff, and whether or not that's just limited to our families and can't be extrapolated to entire societies, and my family's just a real good bunch. And I couldn't give more credit than anything of that to my parents, really. Like, everything that I have, everything that I am, is thanks to my parents, I would also credit to my family and my brothers, but like the people that connect me to all of that is my parents. You know, all my uncles and aunts that I care so much about, all my cousins, all my siblings. You know, all of those. The real central link is my parents. They're the ones who, you know, created me and have brought those two parts of my family to me in a sense. But like all of my greatest qualities, all of the things I aspire to be, I've learned from my parents. You know, ever since I was young, the greatest celebrator of my victories and the most impassioned kind of like person who was most happy for me doing well in anything has been my mum. You know, she's just so caring and so empathetic that it's hard to even imagine having that level of empathy, having that ability to care about others to that degree. You know, like my dad will say this openly. He's often credited any kind of social abilities that I have, interacting with people, talking to people, that all coming from my mum. And you know, I know for a fact that people in my life that have met her or that know her, friends from like long ago who like will just remember her because of that kind of enriching experience it is just to know her. Like how happy people are to just know her and have that experience with her. You know, similarly, I think a lot of my outlook on the world is kind of like similar to my dad's. You know, I feel like certain ideas about how he sees the world and certain habits that I have, we kind of overlap. Oh, sorry about that. That's unprofessional. But yeah, and like to a certain extent, I think part of growing up, part of thinking about your own identity is comparing yourself to your parents and thinking about what qualities they have that you want to share, what qualities they have that you don't want to share. You know, that's probably more common for others than for myself. But there are definitely some there. They'd admit that themselves. But I think what you'd find often is that where one of them is lacking, the other one is strong. They complement each other as parents extremely well. Like, my mum is one of the most passionate people you ever know, and my dad, conversely, while also being passionate about a lot of stuff, he's one of the most level-headed people you ever know. And the thing that they overlap the most in terms of how they're similar is how loving they are. How much, you know, how much they love me and my brothers, and how much they convey that, because really I think that's just something that I've taken for granted, and I try and, you know, show that as much as possible when I'm with them, and, you know, maybe I need to do a better job of that, communicating that when I'm not with them, but, like, yeah, I'm just so lucky. You know, the whole reason why I'm able to talk about the stuff that I'm talking about being on this course and following my dreams and working on my passions is that they support me. You know, there's a lot of people that they wouldn't have that same support. You know, to a certain extent, my older brother followed the kind of traditional success route of getting good grades, studying science in a very high top level university, and I'm sure he'll find success in whatever he chooses to follow. And you know, I was kind of like, well, I want to do film, which is a completely different angle, and it's just an uncertain world, and success is in no way guaranteed. Not that it is for my brother, but success is kind of like there's a more understood route in that sense. Whereas I feel like film, it could go any direction, and they've had nothing but support for me. They've always just said, as long as you're happy, as long as you're doing what you really feel like you want to do, then we'll support you. You know, they drove me down, they accompanied me to every open day I wanted to go to. They expressed interest in whatever I had interest in, would have conversations with me and kind of stimulate my thinking so that I spent more time thinking about it. And not just supporting me in what I like, but supporting me in who I am, you know. I always feel like they've expressed that they're proud of me just for being me, you know, regardless of what I achieve, or regardless of what successes may come my way or what failures may come my way. I always know that they're proud of me, and I always know that they love me no matter what. And you know, what more can you ask for from parents for that, you know? And it's that kind of thing of they express it so much to me explicitly, but realistically, I look at a whole lifetime of experience, and the actions speak much, much, much louder than words. Much louder. But, I mean, I feel like I'd have to dedicate an entire episode to each of them individually, and the way that their upbringing and their kind of, my relationship to them has affected me as a person, because it's like, it's nowhere near enough to cover in a quarter of one of these things. It's so much of who I am is thanks to them. You know, so if you're watching, thanks again. You know, this whole life thing it's pretty crazy. I'm wrapping this right back around to the start of the episode. This whole life thing is very crazy, and I'm lucky to experience it. I'm grateful to experience it, and quite literally, I wouldn't be able to have experienced it without them. And they didn't just stop there from the conception part. That was the easy work, you might imagine, but actually, well, the giving birth part would have been a bit complicated because I was premature and my mum had preeclampsia and all that. But making me who I am today, not making me, but helping me get here, so much of that was them. So yeah, be grateful to those who raise you, be grateful to those who care for you, be grateful to those who support you, because those people who support you, that's a selfless deed, and selfless deeds that help you, or selfless deeds that help anyone, are one of the most commendable things that anyone can ever do. So yeah, lots of love. Peace out.
Run under me and my steamer is broke. For the oblique term, peak of the soul. Peace never know what's about to recover. My zen getting rolled at the turn of your words.
Witches in my head, wishing that we could waste. Well, whisk up the eggplant pie, and even side of dragon. Whole country can't rest on a wing since then. Never sing rings.